Thanks everybody for joining for today's new episode of the ArangoDB Pioneer Program. And today I'm very happy that Olivier could join. And we're going to talk about how and why Olivier built his CMS based on ArangoDB and Openresty. So before we dive into the topic and I get to introduce Olivier a bit, quick info. So if you want to get started with ArangoDB and you're new to it, we have a lot of stuff for you. So you can take ArangoDB for a test drive using our cloud service Oasis, 14 days for free, no credit card needed, no fuss. You also have some nice examples there that you can directly install with one click and follow along. Some nice guides, including queries. You can check out the training center. We, of course, also have a documentation. We're a database, so you need a documentation. And if you want to find our code on GitHub, you can do so on searching for ArangoDB or following just the link there. If you leave us a star there, showing that you like what we're doing, I'm more than happy, and I think the ArangoDB team would be very happy about that. So maybe quick introduction to the ArangoDB Community Pioneer initiative. So what it's about is showcasing what our community is doing there. So we're very happy about very technical talks. So like the one from Olivier today, you can talk about a certain use case or project that you solved with ArangoDB, a certain data modeling issue that you could solve with multimodal about graphs, whatever. You can also write a blog post if you don't feel comfortable joining an online meetup. So any contribution is highly appreciated, and I think can only help the community to grow and solve their problems a bit easier. So if you want to contact me, just see my email address below. You can also find me on Slack. It's jan.arangodb in our community Slack channel. So you can ping me anytime. Happy to help. All right. So today, Olivier is with us. Olivier Bonneau from France. And in our prep call just a couple of minutes ago, Olivier and I realized that we know each other now for over 4 years. So I joined ArangoDB 2015. He joined the community 2016, and basically since then we're in contact. We're in contact for several different topics, chatting a bit. But it was actually the first time that we spoke just a couple of minutes ago, right, Olivier?
Yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, I joined the community in 4 years ago, so a long time, and yeah, I'm quite happy to use ArangoDB.
Yeah, you also worked on different projects already, right? So the first project that I know about is Foxy. So it's a framework based on the Fox microservice framework of ArangoDB, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a way to create administration UI just by defining some JSON objects, and then you were able to manage your content, and it was creating your Fox services automatically, and it was the first piece of the next project, which is Fasty.
Mm-hmm. So before we dive completely into Fasty, can you give us a quick ramp up what Fasty is, and since when you are developing it?
Well, as I said, first I worked on Foxy, and I've got a previous CMS based on Ruby on Rails using ArangoDB as well, but I wanted to merge everything in one product. Mm-hmm. And I was in a meetup in Hong Kong, and I saw a guy talking about ArangoDB. It was someone from the community as well. Mm-hmm. And I met a Chinese guy who was talking about Openresty, and I said to myself, maybe it's something we can do with the both technology. And took me 1 year, to think about it and start working on it. And then I think I built the CMS in 1 week, the first core part, because I already got some ideas on my previous one, and I got Foxy as well. So it was just matching everything on one product. And so, yeah.
Everything came together.
Yeah, smoothly.
Great. I think everybody is can't wait to learn a bit more about Fasti and what you built. So I would just stop sharing my screen and stopping my blah blah, and would be happy if you could let the people know how you build it and how it works.
Okay. So let me share my screen as well. So here we are.
So while you're setting up, maybe quick info from the organizational side. In this webinar, you should see a Q&A and chat function. If you have any questions during the talk of Olivier, feel free to put your questions there. There will be plenty of time at the end of the demo and of his talk that we can expand on a bit on a few questions and answer them. So feel free to ask as many questions as you like.
Okay.
All right. All set up?
Yeah, well, Fasti is a CMS based on ArangoDB and Openresty. So I guess you all know ArangoDB already, but maybe you have some question about what Openresty is. And Openresty is a fork of Nginx web server with Lua embedded on it. So it's very fast because it's Nginx and using the embedded language Lua just-in-time compile. So it's very, very fast. It's used by some big companies like Cloudflare or Kong for analyzing content in real time, stuff like that. So yeah, so who I am? Well, I'm web developer, and mainly I was working with Ruby and Ruby on Rails for several years. Also, I was a JavaScript developer, and lately I'm playing with Lua, but mainly with Moonscript. Moonscript is just like CoffeeScript for JavaScript. So you create your script in Moonscript, and it's compiled to Lua. And of course, I was using SQL and NoSQL database. So before I was working with MongoDB, then I switched to ArangoDB because of the join feature, the graph feature, and also because of Fox, which was very attracting for me. So I'm a self-employed and contractor. I have my own company, and I worked on different kind of industries, from e-commerce to online casino, CMS, CRM, a lot of stuff. But lately I'm focused on working only with ArangoDB and Fox services because I built Fasti, and it allowed me to create web applications, single page applications, or even progressive web application very quickly. So yeah, ArangoDB, you know, it's a multimodal database, and with an API builder, I call it like that, called Fox. So the main advantage is that you can have key value, document, and graph features. You can use Fox to create API embedded directly in the heart of the database, so you can win a lot of TCP connection time for complex requests. Also, ArangoDB allow you to deal with the database using an HTTP REST API, which was very helpful for creating a wrapper for Lua, because nothing was existing for Lua about ArangoDB. And you can also create very easily a cluster if you need. On my sample,
Olivier, sorry for interrupting, just really quick. I think you're sharing the admin or the speaker version of the presentation. So I don't know if you have two monitors.
Yeah.
And I think that so the people see the slides that you see as a speaker and not the presenter.
Okay, you mean the both? You see it?
Yeah.
How can I change that?
Good question. I think you have to switch the monitors in Keynote. Or you just unplug one monitor.
Okay, I see. Let me try to. So I just have to share only Keynote, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna try again. And okay, do you see it?
Looks good.
And well, when I try to put it in full screen, okay, I will keep it like that if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, sure, as you like.
Okay, so yeah, ArangoDB is, as I said, multi-model. Then Openresty, as I said, it's a fork of Nginx with a Lua just-in-time embedded. It's a very small language. I think it's less than 3 megabytes in memory. It's a very tiny language. So the software you will create with it will be very tiny as well. So you have all the power of Nginx, all about reverse proxy feature, cache system, URL rewriting, everything about Nginx. Then you have Lua just in time to write non-blocking code using the Nginx event loops, which is very nice because, for example, you can create a procedural code. I mean, just by example, you create a request to HTTP call to a service, but you don't have to deal with async and await, everything you have in Node.js. Just write your line and everything is handled by Lua. It's yeah, low memory usage. So by example, my frontend is using less than 3 megabytes in memory, and it's very fast. I mean, faster than my previous Ruby on Rails implementation. So when I started looking on Openresty, I was looking for a web framework, and I found Lapis. So you don't have to know Lapis to work with Fasti because it's only for dealing with the course code. But this is the framework I used. It's fast, very fast, because it's based on Lua, and they have a nice documentation. Then for the web components, I will show you some stuff, some code later. I used Riot.js. So why Riot.js and not Vue.js and React, by example? Yes, it was just a choice I made because I wanted something very small and fast enough. So I chose this one, and you don't have any dependencies, and you just add the JavaScript code in your HTML code, and it just works. So yeah, this is Fasti. Fasti is a multi-tenant application. I won't be able to say it. It's a 18N. API editor, so you can create and manage your Fox API directly using the Fasti. You can manage layout. You can have as many layouts you want, kind of templates, your views, your web components based on the Riot.js. It allows you to create single-page applications and create progressive web applications. You can also create dynamic data types. I will show you what it is. It's based on Foxy I made before. And you have an AQL editor for creating kind of store procedure. I don't know if it's a good term for that, but you can create a AQL, and you will be. I will show you how to attach it to a view and create a dynamic view and directly on server side. And also, but I don't think it's the scope of the talk, you can manage Node.js scripts which are also connected to ArangoDB. But by example, if you want to create a chat, a real-time chat, you can create it using Fasty. So you create the code, you manage the code on it, and you just have to run one Docker instance using Docker Compose, and then everything is working. And any modification when you want to deploy your changes, it's just one click away on Fasty. So you can work on your code and test it quickly. I didn't say there, but maybe on next one. So of course it's open source. You can find the link on Fasty website. So mainly this is what I built with Fasty for customers. So I just show you what is showable. So you can create blogs, you can create applications, you can create websites, you can create, as I said, single page application. So you can create all this kind of application. The stack. So basically when we are using Docker Compose, so basically it's just create an Nginx for the front end, your Openresty application, and which is connected to ArangoDB single instance. I didn't try yet to connect it with Oasis, but maybe it will be a nice thing to test. I put also below Openresty, I put Resize.vh because I'm using this service I made, it's open source as well, to resize my my images dynamically. So going there, so it's just an API, and you just have to define the size you want to display, and everything is cropped and resized dynamically. So very useful. Yeah, also I did create a fasciclepn npm module, which allow you to synchronize your code locally. So the main goal was to use your favorite code editors instead of dealing with your web UI. So yeah, it's useful because you can also create a team collaboration. So if someone is modifying a file, it will be modified on your side, and you can log files. And when you save your file, it will be pushed on the server, and you can test it very quickly. So just 1 second, and it's online. You can test your code. I will show you how it works. And we have a workflow. So by example, I work on a dev env, and everything I will modify will always be on the env environment. But once it's done and tested, I can click on the deploy button. I will show you to deploy on the staging 1 or production. You choose your workflow, so it's very useful. And if you modify your code and you break something, it will just break the dev env, so it's safer. So yeah, demo time. So yeah, I already talked about the Resize.vh service I'm using. So basically, we will create a very small blog. Actually, we won't create a small blog, but I will show you how to create a server-side view and web components connected to the Fox API we will create. So let me stop sharing this one, and I will share again my screen. Okay, here we go. So what I want to show you is, this one is annoying. Okay, so this is a website I built with my CMS. I will show you. So this is Fasty, and this is the administration UI. And for this page, as you can see, I have layouts. I can manage my layouts. I just have one layout for now. It's based on Bulma.io. It's a CSS framework. So you can manage as many layouts you want. And this is how basically it's working. So you have your HTML view, you have some external CSS and external JavaScript if you want. And you have also partials, which are basically, they are views on your server side. You have web components, which are based on Riot.js. Application is for creating single page application. I will show you that. Redirection is not very used for now. Data types, it's used for creating your objects. By example, I will start with that. By example, I wanted to create a blog. So for that, I need post. So I went here and I created this JSON document. You have a documentation here with some samples. And basically, it's creating, I need a title, which is a string. And here I put my joy validation. I don't know if you know joy, but joy is used by Fox for validating your body parameters. So here I say, okay, title is a string and is required. Text is kind of WYSIWYG. You will see how it looks. And online is a Boolean. And also I wanted to add a tag, for managing my tags. So I did create a new field called tags, type of tags, and it's an array by default. And this is how I connect my tags and get all the existing tags to help you when you create and try to add new tags, and which show you a list of existing tags. I have a HTML field and an image. So if I go here to my data sets, because data types, as you can see here, it's features and post, and you find them feature and post here. So if I go to post, okay, I already created 2 posts, and I will edit the first one I created. So as you can see, I have my title, I have my text, which is a WYSIWYG editor. I have my tags, so I already have the feature one. I can create a new one. Okay. And I have my HTML content here for the post content. So it's a kind of WYSIWYG editor I made and which allow you to create some complex layouts. So you can create, stuff like that. Do it quickly. Okay. And this is my image. So let's say I want to add one more field on my data types. Just go back to my data types, go to my post. So everything is connected to ArangoDB because when, by example, here I set subtitle. Okay, I save it. It's saved. And if I go back to my post, you will see it. Here, my subtitle is here and is mandatory because I wanted, I said it was required. Okay, test. Okay, I can save. So basically now with these data sets, which are objects stored in ArangoDB, I want to display them, just like here. So if I go back to my post, the first one, you see the same image and hello from ArangoDB. This is what I have here. So to fetch data from ArangoDB, what I have to do is first to create an SQL request. So here I have 2 requests. So the first one is the one for loading blog post. So here I create my AQL. So as you can see, it's a regular AQL except this part. This part was added, it's a dynamic replacement, and it's waiting for some parameters in the URL. I will show you how it works. So basically this request, if you avoid this part, this request will be run. And to display that, I did create an helper called blog post. And this blog helper say, okay, I want to load the partial blog post using this request blog post. So if I go to my partial called blog post, as you can see, it's a view with some specific HTML code inside it. So, for example, actually, all the results of my SQL will be stored on datasets and .results, and it will basically loop on my datasets and display the form. So, by example, if you, I'm gonna do something. Let's say I want here to add that. Okay, I save it. I go there, I update it, and boom, it's already there on my view. Because just when you save it, there is 1 second cache on the server, so it's very fast. You don't have to wait, and it looks like you are working locally because it's very, very fast. So yeah, this file is connected to my AQL request, and I just have to loop to it to display my blog post. Also, as I said, you can use I18N. So this is how you are dealing with I18N. You just have to, instead of, for example, you have this text. If I save it, and I refresh, okay, the same one. But if I do that, automatically on my traduction, I will find the read more, and it's translatable in French or English. Of course, you can define the language you want in the settings. For this example, you just have English and French. So if I go back to my partial called blog post here, okay. If I go back there and I go to the French one, okay. Here I see it's en savoir plus, which is a French sentence. So yeah, you can manage your translation very easily. You just don't have to deal with JSON files or anything else. You just have to set this code, and it will create the key automatically. So this file is rendered on server side. So as you can see, you can have as many blogs, and if you have 2 blog posts, it will be displayed. For example, here I'm going to add one parameter called all true, and as you can see, when I set this all true, it displays me all the posts I have, even the one on draft mode. So why? It's because on my AQL here, it's waiting for a parameter called all, and if it's present, it will add this condition or not. So in this way, actually, if it's present, it won't display because it's if not all, and you have also if. It won't display all the tags, but if you set all, it will display everything, online or not online. So here I built, this was the server-side part, and also I made a dynamic blog. But which is displaying, by the way, the draft mode, but we will fix it. So first, before going there, I will show you how Riot.js is working. So I'm going to go to the blog component. So here it's a simple object, but hold on, I'm going to move to my editor. It will be easier for reading. Okay. So, okay, this is the same thing actually. This one is the same thing. So I'm going to put it there again. Okay. So now I'm going to deal only with my favorite editor. And let's say I want to add, I'm going to check it's working. Make sure it's working. Oh yeah, it's working. So yeah, when I edit my component using my, here I'm using Visual Studio Code. When I save it, it's pushed on the server directly and I can test it quickly. So it's working. So this is a Riot component. So Riot component is just HTML tags with some logic inside it. So by example, here I create an array of articles, and here I loop on all my articles. So it's just like the thing I made on the server side, but it's the JavaScript way. So this one is static. I mean, I just set the data statically here. But what about if I want to fetch my data from my ArangoDB? So this is the same one, but now instead of creating articles statically, I'm fetching data from my post URL, and I set the result and I set my articles, and yeah, this is the result. It's working. I mean, it fetched data from ArangoDB and it displays the result. So for that, I had to create a new endpoint on my server on ArangoDB. And for that, I have here an API. So I can create, I have my whole API, so it's the basic one. And here my post endpoints. So to show you that everything is dynamic, I'm going to create a new endpoint and just show you here's the Swagger documentation. I'm going to create quickly, by example, this one, I made it, a new endpoint. Okay, I save it. And now I'm testing it and boom, it appeared directly on my server, which is located in Paris. So what I want to show you here is that I can create APIs with a lot of routes if I want, and I can edit it directly on my editor, and it's pushed and saved on my server, and it's restarted as well on the server. So every time you modify your code, it's pushed and modified on the server. So if I look here, my post endpoint, it's a basic one, just run a query request and return the object. So if I go back, sorry, if I go back here and open the inspector, network, okay, just want to see my AQL, okay, and if I see the response, I can see it's returning all the objects I wanted. Except that the thing is, it's returning everything, and I don't want that it return everything, just the online one. So for that, I just have to, for example, here, set and doc.online equal true, only the online one. Okay, do that, and boom, oh yeah, sorry, it's not post, doc, it's post. Yeah, it's working. So yeah, I can modify my endpoints and test it on my dev end, and I can work, very quickly and create web components and do anything I want. Here I'm just doing get verbs, but you can post, update, put whatever, put patch, whatever you want, and you can actually do anything you need for your web application. So yeah, so this is, let me go back to my components. So this is dynamic one. So yeah, I call the endpoints, and with the data, I set it to my articles variable, and I loop on my JSON data and just update my view. It's very easy actually when you work with. And another thing I wanted to show you is how fast it is. So I just created a single page application. Okay, so you can see it's this one single page application with only 2 routes. And I have 5,000 records on my database. And here I can go to all my pages very quickly and using Riot.js and ArangoDB endpoints. So this one is this one for getting my items. So just I am using pagination. So just set the page per page, and it just return everything you need and refresh the view very quickly. So yeah, the thing is you can create a lot of components, a lot of web application, and also, as I said, we are always working on development end. So let's say you have finished your application, you have fixed your endpoint, and you want now to deploy on production. So by the way, this is a production website. So all I have to do is not there. All I have to do is to go to my admin UI and click on deploy and say, are you sure? Yeah.
Olivier, I think you should start sharing.
Oh, sorry. Ready.
Yep, back again.
Okay. So again, I am in my admin UI. I click on deploy. Okay, and it took only, you can see 2 or 3 seconds, and it made a Rango dump from only the collection I need, of course, and it pushed, it imported in the production database. So if I go back to my view here, yeah, it's still working, and you can see this thing, was not present before the deploy, and it was added because I changed my parachutes, and it was parachutes where are pushed, of course. So basically, this is Fasci. I'm sorry, it was a little bit quick, but I wanted to mainly show you how we can manage APIs directly using the fasciclepn and fasci application. You modify locally on your computer, and is saved on the server very quickly. So you don't have to run the application locally. You can use your server. It's very fast. And what is very cool, I think, it's that it's very, very fast. You don't have to wait any app restart because Openresty and Lua are very fast. And accessing your data using Fox or AQL are very fast as well. So I did create Fasty because of that. I didn't want to lose any time on waiting for deployment and waiting, for testing online. So I built it for running it directly online and editing it locally using your my favorite editor.